The Galactic Council's training facility hummed with the usual cacophony of 100 different species preparing for combat. In the far corner of the massive arena, Cadet Mino adjusted her standard-issue combat suit, her dark eyes focused on the holographic display showing today's exercise parameters. At 19, she was the youngest human ever admitted to the elite Interstellar Defense Academy, a fact that hadn't won her many friends among her alien classmates. Another human publicity stunt, hissed Zarthok, a 7-foot-tall Krillian, whose chitinous exoskeleton gleamed under the arena's harsh lights, his 4 eyes fixed on Mino with undisguised contempt. Watch her crumble when faced with real danger. James, Mino's only friend at the academy and fellow human cadet, stepped closer to her. "Ignore them," he whispered, his jaw tight with frustration. "You've outscored half these idiots in every simulation." The arena fell silent as Commander Veltar, an imposing Zentaurian with silver skin and telepathic abilities, approached the center platform. His mental voice echoed in every cadet's mind simultaneously, a disturbing sensation that still made the humans wince after months of exposure. "Today's exercise will test your survival instincts against a Class 7 war beast," Veltar announced. "Each species will send one representative. The challenge is simple: survive for 10 minutes in the containment field with a shadow maw." A collective shiver ran through the assembled cadets. Shadow maws were legendary predators from the death world of Nixterra, standing 12 feet tall with razor-sharp claws, acidic saliva, and the ability to phase partially through solid matter. They were used by several military forces as biological weapons, and even experienced warriors treated encounters with them as potential death sentences. "The human will go first," Veltar declared, his mental voice carrying a note of cruel amusement. Mino felt every eye in the arena turn toward her. The other cadets whispered among themselves, some with anticipation, others with what might have been pity. She caught James's worried expression and gave him a reassuring nod that she didn't entirely feel. "This is insane," James protested, stepping forward. "Sir, with respect, shadow maws are classified as extreme threat entities. This goes beyond standard training protocols." Veltar's silver features twisted into what passed for a smile among his species. "Are you suggesting humans are inadequate for the challenge, Cadet James?" The question hung in the air like a trap. Mino placed a firm hand on James's shoulder before he could respond. "I'll do it," she said, her voice steady despite the rapid beating of her heart. As she stepped into the containment field, a massive energy barrier shimmered to life around a circular area roughly 50 meters in diameter. The arena's lighting dimmed, and she could hear the mechanical whir of cameras adjusting to record every moment of what many expected to be her death. The transport cage materialized at the far end of the containment field with a flash of blue light. Inside, something massive moved in the shadows, occasionally revealing glimpses of midnight black, fur and eyes that glowed like molten amber. The cage door slid open with a soft hiss. For a moment nothing happened, then the shadow maw emerged. It was even more terrifying than the holographic simulations had suggested. Its lupine form rippled with predatory grace, each step causing its partially phased claws to leave gouges in the supposedly indestructible arena floor. Saliva dripped from its fangs, sizzling where it hit the ground. The creature's glowing eyes fixed on Mino with the focused intensity of a perfect killing machine. The arena was dead silent. Even the usually chattering Veltari had stopped there, constant mental chatter to watch. Mino didn't move. She stood perfectly still in the center of the field, her arms loose at her sides, breathing slowly and deliberately. The shadow maw began to circle her, its massive head low to the ground, testing the air with deep inhalations. "What is she doing?" One of the Krillian cadets whispered loud enough for others to hear. "She's not even moving." James watched with growing anxiety as the beast completed its first circle, then began a second, tighter orbit around his friend. He knew Mino well enough to recognize her expression. She wasn't frozen with fear. She was thinking. The shadow maw's patience ran out. With a roar that shook the arena's reinforced walls, it lunged forward, its massive jaws opening to reveal rows of serrated teeth. Its claws extended fully, each one capable of cutting through military-grade armor. Mino moved, but not away from the beast, toward it. As the Shadow Maw's momentum carried it forward, Mino dropped into a slide that took her directly under the creature's belly. Her combat knife, drawn so quickly that even the high-speed cameras barely caught the motion, sliced upward in a precise arc. The beast's otherworldly shriek filled the arena as dark blood sprayed across the containment field's floor. The Shadow Maw crashed to the ground behind her, its legs tangling as it tried to turn and face this impossible prey that had somehow wounded it. But Mino was already moving again, rolling to her feet and sprinting toward the creature's head. The beast, enraged and confused by this tiny opponent who refused to run, reared back for another attack. Mino leaped, using the creature's own rising motion to propel herself higher. Her knife found the soft spot behind the Shadow Maw's jaw, driving deep into the nerve cluster that controlled its phase-shifting ability. The beast's roar cut off abruptly. It staggered, its form solidifying completely as its supernatural abilities failed. Mino landed on its back, drew a second blade, and with surgical precision, severed the spinal connection at the base of the creature's skull. The Shadow Maw collapsed, its massive form hitting the arena floor with a thunderous crash that echoed through the stunned silence. Mino stood atop the fallen beast, breathing hard but alive. She looked up at the timer display. 1 minute and 47 seconds. The arena exploded into chaos. Cadets from dozens of species rose to their feet, some cheering, others arguing loudly about what they had just witnessed. Several of the instructors were frantically checking their equipment, unable to believe the readings. Commander Veltar's mental voice cut through the noise like a blade. Impossible. Shadow Maws are apex predators. No single individual should be capable of thinking, Mino interrupted, her voice carrying clearly through the arena's acoustic system. That thing was bred to hunt prey that runs. Every species in this galaxy teaches the same thing. When you see a Shadow Maw, you run, you hide, or you die. So that's what it expected me to do. She climbed down from the creature's corpse, wiping her blades clean. Humans have a saying, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Your war beast had a plan. I punched it in the mouth. As the containment field powered down and medical teams rushed in to confirm the Shadow Maw's death, James couldn't help but smile at the expressions of shock and newfound respect on their classmates' faces. Mino walked over to him, grinning despite the adrenaline still coursing through her system. So, she said casually, what's next on the training schedule? Commander Veltar's silver features had gone completely still, a sign of deep thought among his species. When he finally spoke, his mental voice carried none of its earlier condescension. Perhaps, he said slowly, we have underestimated what humans bring to the Galactic Defense Force. In the weeks that followed, Mino's 2-minute victory over the Shadow Maw would become legendary throughout the Academy. But more importantly, it marked the beginning of a new understanding between humanity and their alien allies, an understanding that sometimes the most dangerous opponent is the one who refuses to follow the rules everyone else takes for granted. After all, humans had spent millennia being prey. They had learned to be very, very good at turning the tables.